So today we are going to talk about cultural food, um, and our experiences with it where we both are. Um,
Specifically
my
Asian food.
experience, right. And my experience just in general is very varied when it comes to like Chinese food, Taiwanese food, because I grew up in Philly and there's like a Chinatown there. I've been to Taiwan, I've been to Japan, so I've had the real thing. And then moving to Florida, that was a culture food shock because I like got cut off from the good stuff. And there's some things that I can't even find. So that's kind of like where I'm at, just cut off at the source basically. And then just moving away and having grown up with it and needing comfort food and not having a way to have it is really difficult. So that's where I'm at.
And growing up in Toronto, I didn't have that issue. Actually, when I met Irene and we started talking about food, I didn't really understand where she was coming from because I thought maybe she was just not finding the right restaurants or like not going to the right places. Like I had no idea what her taste was like. So she painted a very clear picture for me through showing me, like we spent a lot of time on Google sharing our screens and like looking at the different places. And then when she came to Toronto and I took her to a few places, she fell in love because we have a lot of authentic Taiwanese food, Chinese food, Hanan style food, Japanese food, like you name it, we probably have it. So yeah, it was interesting when she came here.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about like um good food and like authentic food. Something can taste good, and that's fine. And I would kind of sum that up to say like American Chinese food. That is just great. It's greasy. It's oily grease. It's good, but it's not authentic, which is fine. So I think it depends on like what you're in the mood for. When I want like authentic stuff, like I can't get it here. And even in like when I was in Philly, I couldn't get like Taiwanese stuff because it was just such a small niche that nobody had really gotten into when I was still living there. So like I think there's a difference between good and authentic. And I don't have much access to either here, really.
So how have you been kind of like, I don't know, scratching that itch for whenever you do have a craving for something traditional or something authentic?
Yeah, which is like so I've had to learn how to make some stuff, which is a really good thing. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. Like I get to look up recipes on how to make a specific thing that I'm craving. The downside is that like I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't know how close I'm getting to, doing it the right way, but that's pretty much like what it's down to.
But
Yeah.
that's cool because like even like when it comes to your fiance, I know your mother-in-law was teaching you how to make some traditional food from their culture as well.
Yeah.
Like you're in it, like you're in there.
Yeah, and again, like blessing in disguise, it's kind of opened up like new um like opportunities to try different things and I'm realizing that I actually like. I I don't I don't hate cooking. I don't know if I
Mm.
love it, but it's definitely something that I'm like, yeah, I could do this. This is fun because it's pretty intimate too, right? Like learning how to make something from scratch that's either within your own culture or trying someone else's culture. So I really like that aspect, and this has opened up an opportunity um, for me to do that. So it's worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and well, that's kind of coming from like my perspective being a food snob. Like I've learned after moving down to Florida that I'm like a food snob, and I'm okay with it now. How do you feel about being a foodie? And because that limits your access, or that limits your opportunities to move to places that may not have what Toronto has.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like it does dictate where I go, not just for travel, but like where I plan to live in the future. Like part of the reason why I want to move to BC is because they are similar to Canada in terms of their Asian cuisine variations. So there's a lot of options there. Their sushi is apparently better than ours because they're right next to the ocean. So I like sushi here is really good. It's really good. You've had it. Like it's pretty legit. So to have an even better option, I mean, like, hey, like I'm not going to argue with that. But being a foodie, specifically living in Toronto, like I'm kind of we're ranked amongst like top 5, top 3 lists as like food meccas just because of our variation here. Like we don't have in Toronto, we don't have a specific food that we're known for, like a city dish or a national dish or whatever. Whereas if you go to Montreal, like you'll probably get a poutine. I know, like when you came here, you're like, hey, can I try poutine? I'm like, that's not really what we're known for. Toronto specifically is known for fusion food, right? We're known for that. Fusion food, that's our national, or that's our city dish, because there's just, you can go anywhere in the city for the most part and get anything you want. We have Little India, Little Italy, Chinatown, we have Koreatown, we have Greek Town. Where I live is a very Asian area, so, you know, I brought you to eat here a few times, and, you know, just in the little block north of me, we had, like, some super authentic Taiwanese cuisine that you were just, like, loving, the Taiwanese sausage, which you're like, I can't get this anywhere. You haven't had it in so long. She ordered, like, every app off the menu. It was amazing. And I just watched her eat. It was great. We went to a great bubble tea spot, which, like, had this, like, specialty brewed tea. Like, if you want to try food, like, you're going to come to Toronto. It's kind of like the sample platter of Canada, I don't know, and maybe most of the world. We have a lot of stuff here. So we like there's an Indonesian restaurant that opened up recently, and like it's just there's just a lot. And I'm not just talking about like Asian cuisine, like we have a lot of stuff. There's a strip just south of me that sells like a bunch of various types of Middle Eastern foods. So like there's just a lot here. We have a lot. So I feel very, very fortunate to be in Toronto. I'm so happy my family chose to live here.
Yeah, I forgot to mention to you that there's a new Filipino restaurant that's opening up downtown.
No way.
I don't think it's open just yet. So, like, Anan and I haven't tried it. But we were looking it up the other day. That's why I was like, oh, I think it's opening, but it's not fully open. But, yeah, I'm excited to try it. I think they had like a couple things on the menu that they are already showing, but...
Oh my God, you're going to have to tell me the name of it. Send me the
new.
name when you can. Because I'm going to want to know.
I'll have to look it up again because I don't remember, but I will.
Oh, yeah. But you guys, there was a Jollibee that opened up by you, right? Like you guys have eaten there?
Yes, I've eaten there a couple of times, and there's always a line, like, it's in a shopping center because that's like what Florida is. There's always a line wrapping around the joint and like out of the shopping
Did you just
center.
call it a joint?
And
oh my God, we don't say that here. That's so
store.
Cool. Okay, go on. Sorry, this is very movie of you.
Wait, I don't think anyone says it.
It's very Philly of you.
There were no other words that
the
came
joint?
to mind. That was very
Philly.
Love it. That's why I was like, wait, does anyone say this?
Not in Canada.
Yeah. But yeah, that line is always long.
Yeah.
I like pulled in once and I was going to get in line and like there weren't even spots to park because they were like bringing food out and I was like, okay, next time. But yeah, Jollibee.
It was like that here for a while too when they opened.
Big hit
It was
here.
like the lineup was insane. It was always like an hour wait. They had a tent with heaters. Like it was, and like now it's dwindled down because they opened up another Jollibee. Like they've actually opened a couple locations. So now it's this one location by me is not so busy, but people were coming like hours away to visit and like line up for hours
Yeah.
just to get this fried chicken.
And just for the US people who don't know what Jollibee's is, it's a Filipino restaurant, like fast food restaurant that does I guess traditional dishes and like their fried chicken.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
explain it.
it is.
'Cause
It's pretty
I'm new
much
to
like
it.
our version of McDonald's slash KFC. So like there's fried chicken. You can get it spicy or like non-spicy, but like obviously I get spicy. And they do have like their take on traditional dishes. So the version that we see here in Canada, which I believe is the same version that you guys are receiving as well, it's kind of like a scaled down menu. When my grandparents found out that that Jollibee was in Toronto, and I was asking them because I wanted to order for them like what they wanted, they were like listing things off. Like they knew that memory like the top of their head, and they hadn't been to the Philippines in a long time. And they were saying things that are not existent on the Canadian menu because I guess it just wouldn't sell well here. Or maybe like from a
Yeah.
scalability standpoint, it just wouldn't sell well. And also from accessibility, because I'm sure there's some ingredients that would just like not, like there's no substitutions. But yeah, like it's pretty much like our version of McDonald's or KFC kind of rolled into one. And the feature is the fried chicken. It's delicious. And their pineapple
Yeah.
juice, jeez. Oh, I mean, I'm sure it comes from a can, but it's delicious.
And you mentioned they actually, so this is a fast food place from the Philippines that they
Correct,
brought
yeah.
internationally, which is like huge in itself because I can't think of any other fast food places that we have that's international.
Oh.
So that's like big ups to Philippines.
We have a
for
couple
doing that.
here that are like specific like noodle houses that have come over, that have started to come over, like chain wise or like franchise wise. Yeah, in my area there's two that popped up. So yeah, it is huge. It is it's funny to me because it's funny that you say it that way, because I remember not that long ago, or what feels like not that long ago, when I was in school bringing traditional food to school for lunch and like feeling awkward about it because no one else was Filipino. Everyone was like either Chinese or Caucasian, like white. And like I was the only like Filipino kid, and my sister obviously, and like we would have like spam and rice or like, you know, pancit or whatever.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain
I'll add pictures here. I'll add pictures
Explain
here
the
so that they can
spam.
see. But it's funny that you say that, because like now Filipino cuisine is cool, and like I'm sure you can say the same. Being in Toronto, now Taiwanese cuisine is cool. Like now it's cool to have these foods.
I've actually never
Traditional
brought,
food.
like Chinese
Really?
food to school. It was just well, we had like prepared lunches. Also, like, how do you heat it up,
I guess.
you know?
I don't remember.
So we just always like either bought food, or like in elementary school it was like prepackaged and everyone ate the same thing. So I never actually had that experience.
Really? Oh my god.
And I really didn't have a lot of people come over. So I didn't have friends being like, what is this? I did have two friends, shout out to Lauren and Margaret, who came over when my grandfather was like staying for the summer, and he made them like a traditional Taiwanese platter dinner thing. And that was pretty cool, because that was like the first moment I was like,
Oh my god.
introduction to real traditional food. And I think they
That's
enjoyed
awesome.
it. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
that was a moment. Always
Yeah,
introducing
right? Honestly.
my
And
culture.
it's funny because like it's normal for us. Like we don't even think twice until someone else comes in and like says something. Like I remember very much the same experience. I had two friends that came over, and they had dinner here, I guess. And Filipino spaghetti, just to clarify, is not the same as like a traditional Italian spaghetti. It has like hot dogs. It's essentially like a meat stew. with spaghetti. Like it's delicious. And till this day, like my friends are like, oh no, I will only eat Filipino spaghetti, because they've had it at our house like so long ago, and they still like love it so much. But like that could have gone either way. Like heaven forbid an Italian kid came to my house and had that, they'd be like, what is this abomination? Hey everyone, how's it going? Camille here, your resident Canadian. Yes, that is where the video ends. We had some technical difficulties, so that's all we had to offer. But Irene and I are super curious. We have some food questions for you. What's your favorite food? What's the food like where you're from? Please state your city. And have you ever had to bring like a cultural food in for lunch as a kid? What was the reaction from your friends? We want to know all that fun stuff. And anything else that you want to share about food and your experiences. So let us know. Comment below. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.